Hi, everybody. Welcome to English Digest. I'm Tom.
Hi, I'm Stephanie.
And it's our culture unit today. We're going to talk about different countries and different cultures and different traditions and things like that. We're actually going to be talking about the Roman Empire in today's program. Of course, the Roman Empire is long gone, although the city of Rome is still there in Italy, but they've left an enduring legacy that we're going to talk about today. We still kind of feel the effects of the Romans today.
Wow, we're going to talk about a really, really rich culture. This is kind of fun. I was telling Tom before we started, we haven't done this, at least in the time that I've been here at 空中美语. So this is fun. Going to learn a little bit more about Julius Caesar.
Caesar, yeah.
He's very, very famous. And Constantine, who is very famous as well. Let's do what we always do, guys. We're going to read through the lesson, and then we'll be back to talk about it. The saying, Rome wasn't built in a day, alludes to the ancient city's lengthy history and rapidly shifting development. Founded in 753 BC, Rome was first the capital of a kingdom, then a republic, and finally an empire. It was the most far-reaching political system in Western civilization. The first emperor, Augustus, grandnephew of Julius Caesar, the former dictator of the Roman Republic, took the throne in 27 BC. Under him, Rome was transformed. Augustus instituted the city's first regulated police and fire forces, reformed Rome's laws, and set massive building projects in motion. He also created Rome's first standing army and secured Rome's borders. By the time of his death, Augustus had brought stability to Rome, bringing on a period of relative peace that lasted for 2 centuries. At its height in 117 AD, the empire encompassed much of modern-day Europe, northern Africa, and the Middle East. By 285, it had grown so large that it had to be divided into the Western and Eastern or Byzantine empires. In the year 306, the empire saw another major shift when Constantine I rose to power and eventually reunited the empire. Meanwhile, Christianity had been spreading throughout the empire. Constantine, the first emperor to legalize Christianity and convert to the faith, paved the way for it to become the empire's official religion in 380. In the decades following Constantine's death in 337, destructive civil wars, invasions, and religious discord led to the downfall of the Roman Empire. In 395, Emperor Theodosius I divided the empire again, this time for good. Less than a century later, the Western Roman Empire fell to Flavius Odoacer, Italy's first king, though the Eastern Empire lasted well into the 15th century.
Okay, everybody, the time has come for us to discuss the contents of today's lesson. So let's get to it. We're talking about the enduring legacy of the Roman Empire. So in this title here, we've got the word enduring. That's being used as an adjective that means it continues for a long time. It's long-lasting, enduring. That's from the verb to endure, which means to last for a long time. Back to enduring as an adjective, though, for example, I could say, I made many enduring friendships when I was in university. I've been friends with them ever since university, so our friendships are enduring. So this is the enduring legacy of the Roman Empire. We've got the word legacy here as well. Legacy, of course, just refers to something that is handed down from generation to generation. It's basically been going on for a long time, and the legacy, of course, is like the fame of something, how famous it is, what people know about it. etc., etc. So basically, the legacy of the Roman Empire has been going on for a long, long time, and people still talk about the Romans today, even though they've been gone for centuries.
Oh, yeah. Definitely. So we've got the saying. It's a proverb and a famous saying that a lot of people have heard before, but it's Rome wasn't built in a day. Which just means sometimes it takes a while. If you're creating something, you need to have patience. Or maybe you're changing a system within your company. Well, people don't like to change, so they're kind of working as slow as they can. But Rome wasn't built in a day. You have to be patient when you're creating something new or changing something. This word alludes to, allude. If you allude to something, you kind of hint at it. You don't talk about it directly. You just kind of casually mention it. There's not a direct reference to it, so you kind of hint. So it kind of gives you this idea that this ancient city's lengthy or long history had a very rapidly shifting development. It took a long time to get to the very famous and very well-constructed Rome that we read about in history. It didn't happen in one day. It took quite a number of years, hundreds of years.
Exactly. So, of course, this particular saying does allude to that. It means that it took a long time to build.
Yeah.
Founded way back in 753 BC, Rome was first the capital of a kingdom, then a republic, and finally an empire. So these are different forms of government or forms of nations. Kingdom, well, of course, that is a country that is ruled by a king. He wears the crown and stuff like that. And, of course, if the king is dead, then it will be ruled by the queen, although it will still be called a kingdom and not a queendom. I don't think I've ever heard that word before. Still a kingdom. And then a republic, I guess that's when you have representatives who are elected by local people, like the Republic of China, for example, ROC.
We're actually a republic in the United States of America.
Yes, indeed, the Republic of the U.S. And then also, finally, we've got an empire, which is like a kingdom. Of course, an empire is ruled by an emperor. And what's the difference between an empire and a kingdom? I think the empire is like when the leader is a leader of several different countries or political entities that are unified. That's why we've always referred to China as an empire. It always had these different areas that were unified. It was a huge place, etc. There are different kinds of empires, and of course, we refer to the Romans mostly as an empire.
Yeah, they controlled a lot of different kingdoms. So an empire is definitely bigger, and the emperor has the most power. He's much more powerful than a king. Now, it was the most far-reaching political system in Western civilization. It really did encompass a lot of land, a lot of countries. It was huge. It was a big political system. When you talk about civilization, you'll often see that word Western civilization. Western civilization had a different set of values, and culture was different than the Eastern civilization or the eastern part of the world, Asia. Civilization includes all of the human development, languages, culture, the things that were created and invented, civilization. So it really did last a long time, and we currently, a lot of our philosophy and our morals are based on what was created during this time in history.
Right, we talk about different civilizations in the world, the Chinese civilization, the Indian civilization, etc.
Yeah.
And this was the biggest one in the Western world, the Roman Empire. Yeah. Well, the first emperor, Augustus, grandnephew of Julius Caesar, the former dictator of the Roman Republic, took the throne in 27 BC. So this was the first emperor of the Roman Empire, Augustus. Okay, and that's, I guess, where the name August comes from. The month of August comes from this emperor, Augustus. He was the grandnephew of Julius Caesar. So Caesar was before him. His uncle, his great uncle, I guess you could say. He was the former dictator of the Roman Republic. So we said before Rome was a republic, but then Caesar was the dictator. A dictator is basically a supreme ruler, a supreme leader with total power over the country. And we could say people like Hitler was a dictator, Mussolini was a dictator, etc., etc. So Caesar used to be a dictator. It was a republic before that, but then he kind of took over. Hey, I'm Julius Caesar. I'm cool. Everybody loves me. I'm really smart. So, hey, I'm going to be the supreme leader here. But then Augustus, his grandnephew, actually became the first emperor. I'm not sure that's good or not, but in any case, he took the throne in the year 27 BC. And throne here is just the chair in which the emperor sits, or the king sits. And of course, it's symbolic of the leadership position.
So he did. He took the throne in 27 BC. Under him, or over, as he was leading that particular empire, Rome was transformed or changed entirely. To use that word transform means to change completely. So he instituted the city's first regulated police and fire forces. He reformed Rome's laws and set massive building projects in motion. He was a creator, it sounds like. If you institute something, guys, you introduce it or establish it, you begin it. So he is the first one who got the police into a police force and got some firefighters into a group that they could fight fires, which is really important for a city to be able to even run. You have to have police who will combat criminals and people who are trying to hurt others. And then when you have a fire, you need a fire force, a fire department as we call them today, to go and put out the fires. Now, to regulate something means to make sure that rules are followed. If you look at that verb regulate, you'll see that it's very close to the noun regulation, which you know means a rule. So if you regulate something, you control it, you maintain it, especially in a business. You regulate something in a business, or the government can regulate an industry, like a food industry. They want to make sure food is safe, so they regulate it. So he came up with a lot of huge changes that helped Rome progress. He also reformed Rome's laws. If you reform something, you change it for the better, not the worse, the better.
Yep, reformed the laws. Maybe they weren't so good before, so he kind of changed them for the better. He reformed them. And he also set massive building projects in motion. In this sentence, we have the verb phrase to set something in motion, which means basically to institute something, to start a program. So they had these big building projects, which we can mention as our lesson continues here, but it could include things like big buildings,
Colosseum,
aqueducts and things like that, canals or whatever. We'll get to that in just a second, but right now we're going to take a break and listen to our Chinese teacher.
Hi everyone, my name is Jenny. 今天我们看的是第5单元。好，我们今天的重点在历史，我们要谈罗马帝国的历史，还有罗马帝国传承下来的一些文明和今天的制度其实很有关系。我们先来看一下文章开头，其实谈历史，我们从这个谚语说起。我们知道罗马不是一天造成的， Rome wasn't built in a day。 好，这个大家都知道，意思就是这可是一个漫长的历史，而且呢很多事情并不是1天2天就看得到结果的。好，在这个谚语之后，当然我们就要来谈，那谈罗马的历史有多长呢？这个就要从西元前的753年开始。好，这个创建点我们看到它句构里面用到一个 founded， 我们知道它加了 ed， 所以从 found 变过来的，那代表的是被建立。罗马帝国它被建立的时间是西元前753年。好，我们看到这个实际上是一个分词，过去分词表示被动。当然接下来他就说他的历史发展从本来是一个首都变成一个共和国，再变成帝国，所以谈到他的影响可以说是 far-reaching。OK， 这是一个重要的形容词，谈到它的影响非常的深远。接下来呢， 看看历史，要从罗马的第一位皇帝。好，他成为帝国之后的第一位皇帝 Augustus。我们知道 Augustus当然就要提到 Julius Caesar， 也就是我们讲的凯撒大帝。当然这边说到他登基，这里有个片语 take the throne。 我们知道 throne 就是指皇位，那这个当然自然就是登基，当上了皇帝。那他当上皇帝的时间是西元前27年。那从他之后，当然罗马呢就产生了很多制度上的变化，这也造成我们今天知道的罗马帝国要从 Augustus 谈起了。
We're going to take a quick break. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
We shall now continue with our lesson, everybody. Remember, we're talking about the Roman Empire, the enduring legacy of the Romans, and we were talking about the first emperor, Augustus. Remember, he was the grandnephew of Caesar, who was a dictator, but we've got Augustus here, and he's making some big changes here. He instituted the city's first police force and the fire department. He reformed the laws, set all these massive building projects in motion, started these construction projects. He also created Rome's first standing army and secured Rome's borders. Now, standing here does not mean that the army used to be sitting down or lying down, and now he told them all to stand up.
No.
Now, in this particular case, standing means it's existing, it's been formed, and it's organized by the government, and it's kind of unified, and it's regulated.
Well, yeah, if it's a standing army, it means it's always organized into an army. They used to just have a war and they'd say, okay, guys, come on, we're going to fight a war. They didn't have an army that was ready to go. But this was the first time they had an army that was always ready to go. That was their job. So that's why we're using that word standing army. He also secured Rome's borders. It's important to secure your borders to take care of your area of land that people can't just come and invade. So by the time of his death, Augustus had brought stability to Rome. That's a word we use when we want things to remain stable or secure. You want stability in your life. You want a stable job, a stable income, where it's not always changing. Maybe making more one month, making less another month. Stable, always remaining the same. So he brought that stability, that's a noun. Stable is an adjective, to Rome, and this ended up bringing on a period of relative peace compared to earlier. It's not total peace, but compared to earlier on, it was peaceful that lasted for 200 years. A century, of course, is 100 years. Moving on to the next paragraph. At its height, or its biggest success when it was the greatest, it was 117 AD after the death of Christ. So the empire encompassed or included much of modern-day Europe, what we consider Europe today, northern Africa, and the Middle East. So you can see it was a huge area of land.
It was all over, basically, all surrounding the Mediterranean Sea. So that was its height or its extent by 117 AD. And by 285, it had grown so large that it had to be divided into the Western and Eastern or Byzantine empires. So it got too big there. So It got so large that it had to be divided. So we've got this pattern, so something that. I could say that I am so rich that I don't need to work anymore. You could say that as an example here. Wouldn't we all like to have that happen to us? But it was so large, therefore, it had to be divided into two parts, the Western and Eastern parts, or I guess the Eastern is also referred to as the Byzantine Empire.
Or the Eastern Orthodox Church. That is also a synonym, you could say, for that. So in the year 306, the empire saw another major change or shift when Constantine I, another leader, rose to power. We often use that phrase, if they rise to power. And eventually reunited the empire. He put the western and the eastern pieces back together again. Meanwhile, or at the same time this was happening, Christianity, or the spreading of the teachings of Jesus Christ, had been spreading throughout the empire. People were learning about it. And Constantine, the first emperor to legalize Christianity, to say, okay, it's okay for the missionaries to teach Christian teachings. That's okay. We won't kill you or put you in prison if you do it. He actually converted to the faith, which means if you convert to a faith, it means you join that religion. You start to follow those teachings. And this paved the way. If you pave the way, you prepare something. You prepare the way for something to happen. If you pave the way, he paved the way for it to become the empire's official religion in 380. That's when that happened. We often use that phrase, pave the way, when we talk about our parents. You know, my dad paved the way for me to become a successful attorney because I followed in his footsteps.
Exactly. So before that, I guess Christianity was kind of a pesky little religion that they didn't like, and they were suppressing it. But more and more people believed in it, and they thought, gee, I guess we better embrace this religion, otherwise our empire is going to fail. So Constantine became the first converted emperor to Christianity. He legalized it. It became legal, and he converted to it. We do use the word convert when you become religious. You can convert to Buddhism, for example, or convert to Islam or
Judaism.
Whatever, Judaism, etc. I think my brother did that when he was in university, converted to Judaism. But it became, as you said, the official religion of the empire in 380. Now, in the decades following Constantine's death in 337, destructive civil wars, invasions, and religious discord led to the downfall of the Roman Empire. So these were in the decades, the periods of 10 years after his death. So maybe 30, 40 years after he died, they started having trouble. They had destructive civil wars. A civil war, of course, is a war fought inside of a country. So these wars were destructive. Lots of people died. Things were destroyed, etc. There were invasions in which armies from other nearby countries or kingdoms came in and took over portions of the Roman Empire. Also, we have religious discord. Discord means there's strife or conflict between different religions, maybe within the Christian religion, the Protestants and the Catholics maybe disagreeing about certain things. Just like in modern day Islam, there's discord between the Sunnis and the Shiites. There might be discord in other kinds of religions as well. But in any case, the point here is that there was religious discord inside the Roman Empire, and all of these things led to the downfall of the Roman Empire. Downfall, of course, is when things fall apart and the country breaks up and it's taken over by other countries, or they form a new government or something like that. In other words, Rome fell because of all these things.
Yeah, so if you talk about the downfall, it's a complete loss of power, prosperity, your status. You could talk about someone's downfall, but when you talk about a downfall, they have to have had a great deal of success first, right? Yeah, his downfall came after he started, using too many drugs and gambling. He had a big downfall. So in 395, Emperor Theodosius I divided the empire again, but this time it was for good, which means it never was reunited after that. It remained separate. So less than a century later, or 100 years, the Western Roman Empire fell to Flavius Odoacer. He was Italy's first king, though the Eastern Empire, which was the Byzantine Empire, it lasted well into the 15th century, which translates into the 1400s.
Okay, so basically Rome was divided after that, and now hence we've got all these different countries, but their legacy lives on because Latin, their language, has influenced various languages, including Italian, French, Spanish, Portuguese, and even Romanian, but we'll get to that in our next lesson. Right now we're going to listen to our Chinese teacher.
好，我们继续来看罗马的历史。这是个 timeline， 也就是一个时间的线，因为历史一定有时间上的前后顺序。提到 比如之前的753年，谈到 Augustus 登基的时间，西元前27年，再往下谈就要谈后来呢，在他过世的时候，当时他可以说让罗马成为一个安定，而且呢相对的非常发展完整的一个国家了。好，我们看到这里有一个时间的线，by the time， 我们要知道 by the time 这样子的时间线，意思就在讲一条截止线，而在用法上我们要注意的是，它时间上我们后面的主要句这个动词会用完成式。当然，如果你的截止线像这里是讲过去的某一个时间，也就是他过世，谈到 Augustus 过世，在他过世之前，到那个时候怎么样了？发生什么事了？你用到的完成就是过去完成，在那之前他就已经 had brought stability to Rome。 时态注意一下，这是一个过去完成。好，我们继续往下走，时间的线到了西元117年，这可以说是罗马帝国的全盛期，所以他用到这个片语 at its height in 117 AD。 好，我们知道了 height， 这里说到它的全盛期，那我们知道历史上它后来的发展可以说越来越庞大，所以下一个点就到285年，这时候因为太庞大了，所以罗马帝国就分裂成为东西两个帝国。这里有一个 so large that， 我们看到 so blah 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 that， 我们知道我们中文上就是表示说是如此的怎么样，以至于怎么样，大到你不得不最后其实就分裂成两半。好，我们再往下走，时间的线走到306年，这时候有一位重要的君主，他叫做 Constantine， 他其实就是君士坦丁一世。那谈到他伟大的地方就在于他又把两个分裂的东西罗马帝国合而为一。好，看到这个字 reunite， 他把两个帝国统一了，合而为一。而这时候呢，跟宗教有关的，也就是基督教传遍了整个帝国，而且君士坦丁大帝有另外一个重要的历史的点，就是他改信仰基督教，而且基督教在西元380年的时候就成为这个帝国的整个统一的官方的宗教了。好，最后下面这一段我们就要看时间的线继续走。提到说君士坦丁大帝他在337年西元337年过世了，而这过世的时候其实罗马帝国非常的混乱，所以呢，到了395年，这也是下一个时间的点。这时候呢，罗马帝国又分裂了，这第二次的分裂就永远成为分裂的帝国。所以他说 for good 代表的是 forever。而且这个永远甚至也就造成我们今天的意大利就是当时的西罗马帝国，而意大利也就是我们现在所知道的国家了。今天的节目就到这边结束，我们下次见。
That's it for today, guys. We have one more day to talk about the enduring legacy of the Roman Empire. Truthfully, we could probably talk about the Roman Empire for a full month. There's so much history in that particular time in Western civilization. But right now we got to say goodbye. We'll be back, though, to talk about more in our next program. For English Digest, I'm Stephanie.
I'm Tom. Goodbye.
See ya.